Becoming a major general in an actual military is hard work. It is typically the fourth highest ranking position in an army, right below lieutenant general and right above brigadier or brigadier general. A major general has command over about 10 to 15,000 soldiers, and thus one would definitely need to be a highly skilled military officer to have any hope of succeeding at the position. But that's boring, and two people who knew that were W.S. Gilbert and Arthur Sullivan, who in their 1879 comic opera The Pirates of Penzance introduced the character of the modern Major General, who boasts an incredible array of knowledge about seemingly everything except actual military strategy and tactics. His feature song, probably the most famous from any of Gilbert and Sullivan's operas, is the Major General's Song, also known by its first line, "I am the very model of a modern Major General." It features, in rapid succession, all the sundry tidbits of knowledge that the Major General has. Let's see if we can reproduce them all in this video.
I am the very model of a modern Major General. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England.
Here are the kings and queens of England, from William the Conqueror onto the present, with apologies to Ethelred the Unready.
And I quote the fights historical, from Marathon to Waterloo in all the categorical.
The fights historical refer to the battles in the book The 15 Decisive Battles of the World, from Marathon to Waterloo. Here is the list, and here is an Euler diagram showcasing which military powers were involved in which battles to make it categorical.
I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical.
Simple refers to linear equations, which can be expressed in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Quadratic equations involve an x squared term and are of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. They can be solved using the quadratic formula.
About binomial theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news.
The binomial theorem states that if you raise a binomial x plus y to the nth power, the coefficient a of the term ax to the b y to the n minus b is n choose b, which can be found as the bth entry in the nth row of Pascal's triangle, if you start counting at 0.
Lots of news. With many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse.
The most cheerful fact about the square of the hypotenuse is the Pythagorean theorem, stating that it is equal in area to the sum of the squares of the two legs. If you want more facts, it's the biggest square on a right triangle, you can use it to find the distance between 2 points on the grid. That's probably enough facts.
I'm very good at integral and differential calculus.
Integral calculus is primarily concerned with finding the area under a curve. The first way most students learn to do this is with a Riemann sum, which involves approximating the area by summing the area of ever thinner rectangles. Differential calculus involves finding the slope of a line tangent to a curve at a particular point, which is a line just barely touching it. That can be approximated by finding the slope of the line between the point in question and another nearby point, then again with a closer point, an even closer point, and so on. Now here's the fun part. If you start with a function f, graph the cumulative area under f, and call that a new function g, and then graph the slope of the tangent lines of g, you get f again. This is called the fundamental theorem of calculus.
I know the scientific names of beings and animalcules.
Animalcules are an old name for microorganisms. You might already know the scientific names of some of them, for instance E. coli or Salmonella, or anything else you might catch from eating romaine lettuce.
In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern Major General. I know our mythic history, King Arthur's answered Caradoc.
King Arthur is a legendary British king known for being the leader of the Knights of the Round Table, and Sir Caradoc was one of those knights, and supposedly the ancestor of the kings of Gwent.
I answer how the acrostics.
Acrostics are a type of word puzzle where one has to guess words and then the letters spell something out. Here's the example acrostic from Wikipedia. The first letters of the words in these pictures spell out the last name of a famous man. Puzzle spoilers, the first one's a jug, then an anchor, then a cat, then a king, then a snail, then an orange, then a nest. The first letters spell out Jackson. Was that a hard acrostic or an easy acrostic? I guess that's up to you to determine, but I'll cross this one off the list.
I have a pretty taste for paradox.
A paradox is a statement that contradicts itself, or sometimes just one that is unexpected. For instance, this sentence is false. If it's false, it can't be false, so it has to be true, but if it's true, then it is false. And that's a paradox.
I quote in Elegiac all the crimes of Elegiac.
This is going to be a hard one. Elegiacs are a type of poetic couplet with this meter, mostly made of dactyls, which are stretches of 3 syllables with the first one stressed and the next 2 unstressed. Heliogabalus, or Elegabalus, was emperor of Rome for 4 years from 218 to 222, from ages 14 to 18. While modern historians think Elegabalus was more incompetent than criminal, historians of the day accused Elegabalus of 1. Trying to get Rome to worship only one god, the sun god Elagabalus from Syria, for whom Elegabalus was named, 2. Marrying a Vestal priestess, who are supposed to be celibate, which was probably part of the new religion thing, 3. Wanting to be a woman, which is very much not a crime, and 4. A bunch of other stuff that's likely just slander by Elagabalus's political enemies. The transgender thing might or might not have been slandered too, so I guess we're going to use they pronouns for Elegabalus in our poem. In any case, poor Elegabalus was assassinated at age 18 and replaced by another teenager, Severus Alexander, Elegabalus's cousin. So let's put that into some elegiacs. Being transgender and having to rule at just 14 years old and trying to make all of Rome worship a god of the sun. Also, they married a Vestal who isn't supposed to do that. Then their successor, who sucked, slandered what name they had left.
Conics I can plot peculiarities parabolas.
Conics refers to conic sections, the shapes that you get when you slice a cone. One of these shapes is the parabola, which is also the shape of the graph of y equals x squared. As for flooring peculiarities parabolas, although this is almost certainly not the interpretation Gilbert and Sullivan intended, the mathematical floor function gives the greatest integer less than or equal to a given number. So a floored parabola would be the graph of y equals the square of the floor of x, and would look quite peculiar indeed.
I can tell undoubted Raphaels and Gerardows and Zoffanies.
Raphael was an Italian painter in the 1500s, Gerrit Dow a Dutch painter in the 1600s, and Johann Zoffany a German painter in the 1700s, so their styles are actually reasonably distinct.
I know the croaking chorus from the frogs of Aristophanes.
The chorus in question is Brekkekex Coax Coax.
And I can hum a fugue of which I've heard the music's dinner for.
This is another hard one. Fugues are a musical technique using counterpoint, involving 2 or more musical voices playing parts related to a common musical theme at the same time. Because of how central counterpoint is to a fugue, you can't really hum one by yourself. At least, not without audio editing. May I present the first 30 seconds of Bach's Little Fugue in G minor, hummed. Poorly.
Dinner for. Ah, and whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore.
And whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore. And whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore. And whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore.
HMS Pinafore is the Gilbert and Sullivan opera produced right before Pirates of Penzance. Whistling the entire score would take too long, so I'll just whistle a little.
Then I can write a washing bill in Babylonic cuneiform.
Cuneiform is a writing system from Mesopotamia, used by several civilizations from the area, including Babylon. I thought this was going to be a hard one, but luckily the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York actually has in its collection a cuneiform washing bill that we can just copy. The translation of this clay tablet, which you can find at the link in the description, has one man, Liblut, being paid 11 shekels of silver to do the laundry work of another man, Shamash Aha-Iddin, for an entire year during the reign of King Nabonidus of Babylon.
I'll tell you every detail of Caractacus' uniform.
Caractacus, or Caraticus, was a Britannic chieftain captured by the Romans, and in paintings and statues his uniform seems to be just a loincloth.
Sorting matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern-made general.
Sorting matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, he is the very model of a modern-made general.
In fact, when I know what is meant by mamelon and ravelin.
A mamelon is a kind of small hill, while a ravelin is a triangular fortification attached to the wall of a fortress.
When I can tell at sight a Mauser rifle from a javelin.
A Mauser being a rifle and a javelin being a spear look basically nothing alike.
Such affairs as sorties and surprises I'm more wary at.
A sortie is a deployment of a single military unit, like an aircraft or some soldiers, from a fortified area.
And when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat,
A commissariat is a military department in charge of supplies.
when I have learnt what progress has been made in modern gunnery,
Go watch some YouTube videos about railguns. Those are pretty modern and also fun to watch.
when I know more of tactics than a novice in a nunnery,
Given that you don't actually need to know any tactics at all to join a nunnery, this one isn't too hard.
in short, when I've a smattering of elemental strategy. Ooh, strategy. Ooh, strategy, strategy. Ah, I got it. You say a better major generalis never strategy.
You say a better major generalis never strategy. You say a better major generalis never strategy. You say a better major generalis never strategy.
Strategy means rode a horse.
For my military knowledge, though I'm plucky and adventuring, has only blimpered down to the beginning of the century. But still in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general.
The same matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, he is the very model of a modern major general.
And that's it. We've made it to the end of the song. Now you too can be the very model of a modern major general. And as always, thanks for watching.